a natural high. And the pleasure you'll experience will blow your mind. Freestyle singing in the house tonight. Move your body from left to right. To all you freaks, don't stop the rock. That's freestyle singing and you know what hot. Freestyle singing in the house tonight. Move your body from left to right. To all you freaks, don't stop the rock. That's freestyle singing and you know what hot. Everybody will be dancing to the beat on the floor. You will encounter situations never thought of before. Satisfaction's guaranteed if you know what I mean. And when you walk into that door, it's such a freaky scene. Freestyle singing in the house tonight. Move your body from left to right. To all you freaks, don't stop the rock. That's freestyle singing and you know what hot.
Brass monkey, that funky monkey. Brass monkey, chunky, that funky monkey. Brass
That's more than real.
drink, brass monkey. Here's how you feel.
Put your left leg
Down.
your right leg
Up.
Tilt your head back, let's finish the cut.
MC with the bottle.
And Rocket Snakes with Charlie Chan. We don't mind shivers wherever we go. We bring the monkey with us. Add 1, 2, 3.
My DSD.
Double off with the bill, most definitely.
I drink brass monkey and I rock well. I got a castle in Brooklyn, that's where I dwell. Brass monkey, that funky monkey. Brass monkey, chunky, that funky monkey. Brass. When it's time to get ill, boy, on my face. Come on, y'all, it's time to get nice. I put it in a monkey, mixed it in a cup, went over to the girl. Sit. Lip. Brass monkey.
Velina me ke aloha, e nā hoa makamaka o nā moku like ole o ka honua nei. Mai Hawaii iki, Hawaii nui, Hawaii poko, Hawaii loa. Mai Hawaii nui a kea hoi, aloha no kākou. Ua olelo ia, o ke aloha aina o ia i'o maoli. Oia no ka mea e ku ana a e ho'omākaukau ana ia iho no ka paio ana aku no ka pono o kona aina hanau. No leila, o ka hana ana na oiwi i keia manawa, a me ka hana a ko kākou po e kupuna, e hoi i ka mana a me ka pono o ka aina oiwi, a e mālama i ka aina me he poki i la, he oia i'o, a he kupono, i mae hou, a i noho hou ka hano a me ka mana, maluna o ia aina i make e nui ia e kākou. No leila, ke ike ia ka ulu mōhala a maika'i ana o nā la'au o ka aina, a he mea ho'o hau oli mai i ka mahi ai, kāna mau keiki, a me kāna mau mo'opuna, no ka mea, oia ka pono a me ke ola, ka pō maika'i a me ke ku ono. O ia ku ono o ka aina, ka pahu hopu. O ke ola, lupa o ka aina a me kona po'e. No leila, ke puana e nei no wau, e aloha i ka aina. Ka mea nāna kākou e mālama. Nāna hoi e ho'olako a hanai ia kākou. As we gather today via digital platforms, we recognize the unceded lands and territories that we currently dwell upon. We recognize the complex histories of colonialism, oppression, and exploitation of Native peoples and people of color across our island chain, the Americas, and the world. We acknowledge the intersectional issues that we are grappling with in the areas of systemic racism, inequality, accessibility, discrimination. This is a time of deep rumination for us, a time that calls on us to ground ourselves in order to make change and promote healing. As is suggested by this series, we are returning to the source that grounds us in our practices and artistry. Here in Hawaii, as it is for many indigenous peoples, the aina, or land, is what grounds us. It is our ancestor. Caring for that land, being a humble steward of one's birth sands, and giving true aloha to that land reconnects us to that aina. That is a path to healing ourselves. Return to the source. Aloha aina kākou.
Thank you so much, Hailey, for that wonderful introduction. Welcome, everybody. My name is Joan Osato, and I'm producing director at an organization in San Francisco called You Speaks. I'm also a proud board member of CAATA, who is bringing you this program tonight. Return to Our Stories features the artists who are coming to ConFest in May of 2022. We wanted to feature them as well as get to know them, also to know how they've been faring throughout this time of COVID and the pandemic and no live performances for an entire year almost. On that note, I want to introduce you to a good friend of mine, a great colleague and a theater maker of renown. It's my esteemed privilege to introduce you to Sean San José, renowned and famous and infamous theater maker here in the Bay Area. Sean is a playwright, he's a producer, and he's the founder of Campo Santo, which has been doing new works for almost 25 years now. Great to introduce you to Sean San José, who's your MC.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joni, my dear friend, my esteemed colleague. And mahalo, salamat. Thank you, Hailey, for the beautiful introduction and land acknowledgement. And welcome, World Wide Web weebles. Thank you for joining us to CAATA, the Consortium of Asian American Theaters and Artists, to their fabulous ConFest, Return to the Source. We're going to be presenting to you three wonderful artists today: Jason Bayani, Susan Lieu, and Pratik Motwani. And though it is Return to the Source, and we are sadly unable to be together in that source, we will try and make best do at getting you close to these artists inside their heads and their hearts, and definitely their art. We wanted to share both their artistry and conversation with you, and also to get an insight into how they are living day to day, art-wise and in the grander scale, life-wise. So one of the things we wanted to start you with was this prompt from Joan Osato to the artist, was to describe in a short video form how you've been surviving, sustaining the shelter in place, the madness of the pandemic, everything, the insanity that's been revealed of this white supremacist country and beyond, and how you living, how you breathing, how you holding up. And we have these three artists, and we're doing it all around the world today. So it's going to be pretty fabulous. So it's either good afternoon, or good evening, whatever it is. Get yourself a drink and enjoy your time with us. My name again is Sean San José. I'm reporting live from San Francisco, or San Pancho, aquí no más. We are on the land of the beautiful Ohlone, Miwok, and Pomo people out here. My preferred pronouns are any and all. Any and all pronouns that make you feel more comfortable, make me feel more comfortable. So that's how I will do it. And I would like to ask you to settle in and try and see if we can get some human connection through this digital world as we hear these wonderful and moving stories from these three wonderful artists. So with that, here come the videos.
This is Lincoln Park. This is where my husband and I go when we want to feel free and get a change of scenery from just being at home all day. Lincoln Park is where the Vashon Ferry comes in and folks stand up paddleboard and sail, and it's where we can see the mountains. For me, the pandemic really came into clear view on March 29th at 8 p.m. I'm 41 weeks pregnant. My husband and I are on the highway. We're driving to the hospital to get induced. And I asked him, do you want the kid to call you Ba in Vietnamese, father, or Appa, Korean, father? And he says Appa. He asked me, and I start to speak, but nothing's coming out of my mouth. And these tears just start coming down like so fast down my face. And I reach over for all the fast food napkins in our glove box, and it's not coming out. And the reason why it's not coming out is because I hadn't said the word ma, which means mother in Vietnamese, for 24 years since my mom died. And so during the pandemic, we've been trying to figure out, how do we have family when no family is around? How do I mother when my mom isn't around? How can I be really conscious when I'm triggered by my intergenerational trauma? How do we take care of ourselves with one of the biggest changes in our lives? And so self-care has been huge in terms of physical therapy, emotional therapy, couples therapy, and just trying to figure out how to be an artist during the pandemic.
How y'all doing? My name is Jason Bayani. I am a poet, performer, and currently work as the artistic director of Kearny Street Workshop in San Francisco. It's the oldest multidisciplinary Asian Pacific American arts organization in the country. I'm very proud to be working there. You know, we're a 50-year-old arts organization. It's been an amazing experience. I'm also, as you can see behind me, very much a wannabe DJ at times. So yeah, I was born in San Francisco and raised in Fremont, which is about 30 miles south of San Francisco. I've lived in the Bay Area for pretty much most of my life, except for maybe like the 2 years I spent living in Texas during my 30s, which was a interesting experience. But man, I mean, for real, I'm a Bay Area guy through and through. Went to SF State like during the late 90s, and that's kind of how I got involved in the art scene over there when, you know, I started writing and doing theater. I did theater actually with Bindlestiff Studio, which is still around today, the only Filipino American run black box theater in the country. And yeah, I did some work with a comedy troupe out of that space called Tongue in the Mood, which was like pretty awesome time. But after that, I really got into doing poetry slams, and yeah, that was for most of my 20s. I was competing and doing shows across the country, and you know, I continued to do that through my 30s. And then I got my MFA, and after that, I published 2 books of poetry The latest Locust is tied into my stage show, Locust of Control. It's a simultaneous project I put together. The poems that exist in Locust also exist in the stage show, and they kind of work together, but they're not the same thing, but they kind of are. It's, you have to see it for yourself. For the past year, I haven't really been doing much. I haven't been doing much writing or creating or anything like that. I think I'm still trying to figure out what the hell just happened or what the hell is continuing to happen. When things started getting serious, I was on the road, doing some readings, and my partner who lives in Minneapolis came down to join me, and I didn't know then that would be the last time I'd perform in front of an audience, and that would be the last time I'd see her for months. If you were to ask me how has all this affected me, I'd tell you I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't know. I think one thing that became clear is that what this thing was, what it was going to do was reveal and make visible what we are, what this country is. And so much came to a head. I think coming into this year, I for the first time in my life, I felt like I knew what it was I wanted to be, who I was as an artist. I felt like I had that for the first time in my life. But now, I don't, because I'm not the same person I was before this year started. And that happens. And I have to figure out, who am I now? And what does that mean for me as a writer, as a poet, as a performer, as a person in this world? And so I'm not there yet, and I guess that's okay. But I do know at the end of the day, I'm still trying to do work to create and make spaces for art. I still believe in this thing. I still believe in us. And so that's where I'm at now. Trying to figure it out. Trying to hold steady to my belief. Trying to guide me as best as it can.
Hello everybody, my name is Pratik Motwani and I'm an actor, theatre maker and theatre educator that is primarily based in Northern California in a place called Blue Lake, which is the land of the Wiyot people, about 5 hours north of San Francisco. It's a beautiful place in the middle of nature. The redwood forests are right there, the Pacific Ocean is right there. Jurassic Park was shot there. So it's a beautiful place and I love being there. But that's not where I am today. Today, I find myself returned back to my source, which is Mumbai, India. I'm in my childhood house, the house that I grew up in, the house that my parents live in, and this is the kitchen. This is the world's best kitchen because my mom cooks here. And this is literally the place where my mom has cooked all the delicious meals that have literally nourished me. This is the place where I learned how to cook. So what I'm making right now is some chai because it's early in the morning here and the sun is risen outside the window. You probably might be able to see it in the reflection of my glasses here. But chai is something that I really, really miss when I am in the United States because it's just not the same taste in the US. They make it with tea bags instead of tea leaves. And the milk is different. So you don't get the same taste. And also white people like to call it chai tea, which means tea because chai means tea. So it's like saying, calling coffee, or a burger. Anyways, the real way to make chai is to have tea leaves, water, and milk brewing all together, and then you put a little bit of cardamom, a little bit of pepper if you like the spice, and some ground ginger for that extra zing. And then instead of sugar, you put jaggery, which is a sugar substitute, which is really, really good for your hemoglobin and gives it a nice rounded flavor. So when the pandemic hit, I was in Blue Lake, California, and I got furloughed from my job. So suddenly everything had come to a total standstill. And the good thing was that I was in Blue Lake, which is close to the forest and the beach. So I spent a lot of time reconnecting with nature, which has been a positive aspect of this COVID situation. Later in November, my parents contracted COVID, so that was a really stressful time and kind of a wake-up call. I wanted to immediately catch a flight and come down here, but the doctors advised me not to because there's no point. I would not have been able to see them since they were isolated. So I decided at that point that as soon as I get an opportunity, I would come back and visit my family and spend some quality time with them and my nephew, who is 2 years old. So I haven't gotten to pick him up yet because I'm on my second day here, and so I'm still quarantining. There he is, you can hear him. So it's been good in some ways to be reconnected with nature, to be reconnected with family, and I'm trying to look at the positive side in terms of artistically. I'm currently teaching an online devising class for the University of Ohio, and I'm super excited to see how this online medium translates into the work of theater. And so I think there are some really exciting possibilities with that. So I'm trying to look at the upside of everything. Other than that, I have also created a website with a character named No Show, who is a funny spiritual guru, a reincarnation of Osho, the Indian spiritual, very controversial Indian spiritual guru Osho. And through this website, noshowtalks.com, you can send in your queries, anything that is bothering you, anything that is concerning you during this quarantine that you may be seeking meaning for. You can send in those queries to No-Show, and he will send you a private video back. So that's been a really fun way to kind of interact with audiences that you don't even know, but they send you a question and you try to answer. You try to give them spiritual advice as this character. So check it out, noshowtalks.com. Yeah, other than that, I'm super excited for this event, and I look forward to meeting all the other panelists and the artists that are in this discussion, and I look forward to interacting with all of you live. So that's me.
Oof! Thank you for that. That was beautiful. I don't care if it's the internet or we're all looking into our laptop. Somehow the humanity cracks through those three stories. Thank you so much for that, and beautifully compiled by Joan Osato. Thank you all again for joining CAATA, Consortium of Asian American Theater Artists, and HowlRound. All of you out there in the interweb world, joining us for Return to the Source, ConFest of CAATA. And I want to introduce those beautiful human beings who you just saw there, Jason Bayani, Susan Lieu, and Pratik Motwani. Hello, people.
Greetings.
We don't know where to look, computer people out there, because as you know, on these fake live meetings, we're seeing like 8 versions of ourselves, and we're hearing like 3 versions in 2 different ears of ourselves either. So stick with us. We are going to get a real conversation out. But I did want to say welcome to you 3. I really wish we could be in the same room vibing together. You all just brought such beautiful work to it, but just beautiful heart to it. I thank you for for sharing that. That's, for me, that's really what I need the most, is some way to connect back to humanity and community. And you all did that beautifully in these short pieces. And we wanted to give you all out there in the world a sense of these people as people before we got into their work. And I just wanted to ask you three if you could share with us, just first of all, if you could all just introduce yourselves. We'll go alphabetically. Start with you, Jay.
Yeah. Hello, my name. Oh, yeah, my name is Jason Bayani. Is there anything else I should say for the intro?
No, man, you do what you need to do.
Okay,
This
cool.
is not a test.
Okay,
it's not a quiz. You passed
okay.
with flying colors.
I didn't know if we had like a check-in question or something. I'm used to check-in questions.
Jason hosts too many events. Wonderful. Me and Jason are in the same area out here, but we never get to see each other live. So good to see you, even in the computer world. And lovely. Thank you again, Susan, for your beautiful piece and sharing your family like that. And please introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name's Susan Lieu. I'm a Vietnamese American playwright, producer, and performer. And you had a glimpse of my 10-year-old son named Art. Not short for anything, just the concept. I am based out of Seattle, Washington.
Wonderful, wonderful. That was beautiful. And all on the other side of the world in Mumbai, Pratik with the very enticing chai demonstration there. My friend, would you introduce yourself? I don't think we can hear you unless it's me. Anyone here?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Mic test. 1 2 1 2. There we go. Boom. Okay, good. Hi, everybody. My name is Pratik Motwani, and as pointed out, I'm right now in Mumbai, India. In my house, in my home with my parents. But I'm based in Bologna, which is 5 hours north of San Francisco. And I'm an actor, theater maker, theater educator, and I'm super excited to be here and looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, beautiful. It was so great too, in that short glimpse of you all, that you both touched on how you're doing day to day, but also you reached inside of your hearts, but also your family lives, which I think is the thing that so many of us are suffering through or holding on to. And I was wondering, you three could respond to this, has there been any familial or cultural touchstones, if you will, that you've clung tight to or remembered during this time to survive or to sustain yourself during this tumultuous time? And if so, having that in place, has it helped you hold on to a vision of what you want to do with your storytelling? So what forms do you see your storytelling taking on once we get through this dark period? And anyone jump in, let's just have a conversation here.
Well, I mean, for me, it's like the pandemic, we have so much time. And so I think for the longest time, I was like, oh, I can't speak Vietnamese to my kid. Like, my Vietnamese sucks, like I don't know it so well, but I kind of don't have an excuse now. Like, I have all the time in the world. I could use Google Translate. And so now I've been really trying, as I'm thinking about motherhood, I'm trying to actively speak Vietnamese to my kid every single day, because now I'm the authority in the house all of a sudden on Vietnamese. And so that's been really great to really tie me back to this language and words that I haven't used for so long. And it's like activating different memories in my brain. And that's getting me really excited because I'm working on a memoir right now. So it's just been so interesting because like all the excuses I always said I had, I don't really have a time constraint anymore. So that's been a big wake up call.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. Lucky Art there. Jason, Pratik?
Yeah, I guess, going. Like, I've seen my family a lot more, I think, than I have, because they're my pod. Like, pretty much. I mean, my parents and my brother, right before the pandemic, he was living in Thailand with his new wife and new kid, and they moved back here and they're living with my parents. So I'm sure, like, before all this happened, like, my parents really wanted me to come every week. Like, and I can't do it because things are busy. But, like, this whole time I've been going pretty much every week, because if I mean, just like, to help out, and and just like to be around people. Like, because they're my pod. So, and so, yeah, I mean, so it's been nice to, like, really connect with my family, I think, more than I have in recent years.
Yeah, beautiful. Pratik?
Yeah. Same here. I came, like Susan said, there's been like so much to
A little slowed up
time kind of connecting with nature. In terms of cultural touchstones, I started reading a lot again, which was really great because I had time on hand, and I reread the Bhagavad Gita, which is a philosophical kind of Indian philosophical text, and that really kept me grounded during this quarantine and gave me some perspective on things. And so that I really cherished that, because I could really.
Is he frozen?
Oh man, we're missing the good stuff.
Yeah. No.
And the treasure is inside the.
It's a multiple choice here.
Yeah.
This is Zoom life for you.
Yeah.
But I think. Oh, there you are. We missed a bit. You sprinkled us with some wisdom, but I think we missed it right after you brought up.
Oh, I'm sorry. My network connection is probably a little bit funky here. Where did we stop? Where did I?
Well, you were just about to tell us what you had learned in returning back to the your text there.
Right. Yeah. So I was just saying that I really I cherished the time that I had, because I could really reread the Bhagavad Gita, which is a philosophical text, and it's about life. It's about purpose, and so that really kept me grounded during this time, and gave me some sort of spiritual perspective on things that were happening around me in the isolation. So.
Yeah, beautiful. Return to the source. Indeed, this is really great. Again, I just want to acknowledge and thank you all, you three, for joining us, and anyone out in the world that's joining us. And thank CAATA for doing this, to be able to provide a space with HowlRound where we can share openly and freely, culturally, emotionally, from the heart, and with our art, like you all are doing. Really, really beautiful to hear. And again, this is what we crave, for me, this is what I crave the most, just how to connect with community. So really beautiful. We would love to now show you all out in the world a piece of the art from these three. And I think what we're going to do is give you a short excerpt from the three artists here, and I think we're going to do it in reverse order. So I think we will see a short piece from Pratik, from Jason, and then from Susan, and we will rejoin and break it all down and take some questions and continue to wrap with you all. So get ready for some beautiful work here.
of my trunk. Inside this trunk is the story of my voyage and a message for my wife. If this trunk has found you, then I know with all my heart that these messages will reach her someday. For out of all who live, it is the sea that has chosen to bring this to you. This is how my journey began. I wanted to go on a solo voyage across the oceans and around the world. A dream that had always been present in a locked chamber inside the attic of my head that I had finally dared to open. But the hardest part was leaving my wife behind. We had built this boat together, and I had done almost all of my previous sailing with her. So to think of the sea without her seemed disloyal. But the sea was calling me. I could feel it with every fiber of my being. You don't ask a seagull why it needs to disappear from time to time towards the open sea. It goes. That's all. It is as simple as the ray of sunshine and as blue as the sky. But I just did not know how to explain this to her.
McKinley said he never wanted the Philippines, but they came to us as a gift from the gods. A lot of people struggle to understand a God and can't handle being unsure of what that means. They can't live with doubt. They need to see their God as an extension of their values and affirmation of their beliefs. And what eliminates that doubt better than to believe in one who speaks as you do? In the Philippines, McKinley saw an uncivilized nation that was not fit for self-government, a foothold in Asia that would be coveted by every expansionist power. In weighing this, he said he got down on his knees and prayed. But when you pray to the God of your own making, what else would it tell you except there could be no better country, there could be no better conqueror? How many dead bodies can we attribute to the inherent certainty of white men? This belief that they should belong everywhere. Rarely they consider where they should be. Always they consider where someone else shouldn't. When they walk into the room, they become the room. And the story is no longer how you came to be inside of it. The story is this room. And now this room contains you. And the door that had led them in becomes the same door that leads our people out into more rooms that are America. And always I'm told, are you not grateful to have this room? There could be no better room to contain you. Always it is defined for me, and never am I the one to define it. So this is me writing myself. And this is me writing the room. And this is me writing the house that is America. This is me writing the city block, the ground beneath our feet, the great big sky, and this world that contains us, that sits inside of a universe that reaches out into nothingness and turns it all into material space. In this room, I'm always told I am nothing. And from this same nothing, I make myself material. There are a few songs in Tagalog more beloved than Dahil Sa'yo. It is part of a specialized genre of songs called the Kundima. Yeah. Shout out. Roughly translated, it means because of you. Because of you, I want to live. My parents, they tell me this is their favorite version. It was sung by Nat King Cole when he came to the Philippines in 1961. Who said afterwards, people were calling him the man with the refrigerator in his voice. Because when he sang, it was effortlessly cool. During Spanish colonization, Filipinos were prevented from outward displays of cultural pride. So sometimes they would mask these sentiments, their love of their people and the land, inside of something like a kundiman. They mask it in this song of devotion to romantic love. And in this we know, love is both amorous and revolutionary. How easily Nat King Cole dove into this tune. A man who once vocally rebuked attempts by his community to make him take a political stand. Who came to know what every person of color who makes art in America comes to know. Our bodies are politicized. And so will be everything these bodies make. Even in a love song, there's no escape.
Kids say stupid things to their parents all the time. What I didn't realize was that Friday, September 27th, 1996, was the last day I would ever see my mom. That morning, she went in for plastic surgery. A tummy tuck, the narrowing of her nostrils, and a chin implant, and figured she'd be home the next day with her beautiful new body.
You know, Susan, people deal with death in all different ways. Have you considered a therapist?
I'm trying to avenge my mom's death here. I really think this could be it.
I'm a size 8 and I'm married up because he's Korean!
The gold standard for Asian hotness. Oh, shit. Thank you for coming all the way from Rwanda. I love the Vitamix. I'm definitely gonna use it. Oh, what's happening? Oh, Ma? Is that you? Last year, I retraced the steps of my mom's last day following the same exact schedule.
I woke up at 5 a.m. and drove to the plastic surgery clinic. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals! Auntie Susan doesn't believe in toys, so you get a savings bond, you get a savings bond, you get a savings bond. Okay. Want some? You had this the whole time? You can reach them at 1-800-DEP-NY-E. That's 1-800. Pretty as you wish. And the #1 customers for plastic surgery amongst the Vietnamese? Nail salon workers. How come you only want to talk about sad thing? Why not happy thing? I'm just trying to find out the truth. The truth? You only focus on how she died. Why not how hard she worked? 6-7 days a week, all the weekend. She do everything for you. Regular ticket, 1 try. Guaranteed ticket, all you can try. And she tried many times. For 1 month, we wait. Bà con ơi, vô đi! Bà con ơi, vô đi! Remember how you always used to invite us to go out and play and we always want to stay back and work? Well, come back and we're gonna play one last time. This Christmas, we can go to Reno and play that stupid game you like, Keno. And we can use all your winnings for the all-you-can-eat buffet for the family. Okay, you eat all my food, you make me cry, now you go home. Trời ơi. I grab our 3-foot-long Hello Kitty doll, I throw her on the couch, I beat the shit out of her saying, this is what you do to me when you say I'm too fat. We meet in 73, during the war. The first thing I ever gave your mom was crabs. Excuse me? In Vietnam, when you give woman crab, she won't marry you. And it would be really great if you could make it more obvious when you're around, but don't do anything creepy like write on a steamy mirror or anything. Don't cover up the story. Don't cover up the story. Don't cover up the story. I'll have the chicken feet. No, too fatty. How about the shrimp dumplings steam? Good for you. You die from a tummy tuck and now you're telling me what I can and can't eat? I steal your mom. And I see everything. And I see when you're smoking a pot, you get all the high. Then you eat 1 bag potato chip, and then you sad you cannot wear bikini. And cut the avenge my mom stuff. Not cute, I don't like. When you're a little girl, what did you want to be when you grew up? What did you love about me? Does it make you feel sad when I hate my body too? When I light incense for you and ask you for help, does it really work? How would I know for sure? If I have a girl, how do I make her love her body? When can you hold me again? I come from a family of hustlers, spirit channelers, and survivors, and I'm not gonna let one negligent man control my destiny or my mother's story. I'm 140 pounds. She was 140 pounds, and so much more.
I miss the theater. I really do.
Man, I was giving you so much praise right there, people. My muted praise. So I was just saying that was just so deep. It was too deep. And whoever said theater is dead is tripping, or certainly has the wrong channels on, because it's alive and well right here. Right. HowlRound and CAATA right now. Return to the source. U3. Wow, beautiful, just beautiful work. And what better representation of returning to the source than what those stories are doing, those journeys that are happening in there. And I guess I just throw out to you first again, praise up to all three of you. Just beautiful work, just honest and artful and so heartfelt, and all of the things we miss. But two, in a situation like this, when you're so clearly following family lineage, cultural ways, and we were sharing a little bit in the chat how we interact with an audience. So much of your work is so clearly culturally driven, obviously, community, focused. So going forward, now that we're slowly creeping out of this hell that this country inexplicably put us through, how do you envision ways your work, yourselves, your lives, your heart is going to exist in your storytelling going forward? Whether that's what format you're going to use or what kind of stories you're going to use. Any of you have thoughts on that, or can you envision what it could look like in this coming chapter?
Yeah, well, to just make a living during the pandemic, I had to acknowledge, after I was in shock for a few months, that the stage is not physical. It's not physical. It exists, but no one's in it. So this is now our stage. And so I finally got to a place where it started to feel kind of liberating. Like, okay, it's not just the theater. Okay, I don't need to be in the silo of this is how I do my art. And so during the pandemic, I've been like, okay, I'm going to work on a book proposal. Yeah, it's time to write a memoir. Or me and my girlfriends, we talk all the time about really intense stuff. And I was like, let's play with the podcast medium. And then I'll do virtual screenings because mama got to make money. So, it's like, it has been this forcing function for me to do all these projects I've been meaning to do. And I think when we come out of this, we're going to see that our audience is not geography based. It's not physically based. And yes, I love the physical audience so much, but I don't have to be attached to that anymore, which also means this ability to grow your audience on a national and global scale, because I sense that we're always going to be documenting things and streaming things moving forward.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm with you all the way. Pratik, Jason, you have immediate thoughts on that or anything for yourself?
Yeah. I think I'm looking forward to finding out, I think a lot of what's happened over the last year, and I think, I talked about this in the intro too, but I had to kind of reshift. I think, who I am, because a lot of the things I was doing even before, just as far as even just behaviors and the way that I approached life was more, I guess I felt, in a lot of ways more kind of it's like I was always just going. In a lot of ways, that's a bit more destructive. And I think during this pandemic, you start feeling like, what do you want to see for your community? What do you want to see for yourself? And, the thing that always stuck with me is this idea of survival. I want to see us thrive and I want to see us survive. And if that's what I believe I want to see, then that has to start with myself. So, I don't think I've got to that point to get back to my work, because I've been working on being a version of me that is looking at survival and looking at a lot of the things I was doing, the behaviors that were more destructive before, I'm not doing as much anymore, and trying to shift my thinking towards that. So what will, I'm excited to see what would my art look like, in that mindset, of one that looks at survival for us, and and looks at us in a position to thrive. And
I love
so we'll
that.
see.
Yeah. All power to the people, baby.
Yeah, it's interesting with the Zoom thing and with this virtual kind of thing. What has happened is that I've noticed that I've been able to actually be more connected to people now than I was earlier, because you hop on a Zoom call and you see people. So it's been really great in that sense. It's been the barriers of conferences or who can attend and who can't attend in some ways has been taken off. You don't have to pay for a flight ticket to go and have a meaningful conversation. You can have it on Zoom in a conference. So I hope that those things stay as we move into when we move into three-dimensional space. But I yes, through the thing. But in terms of making theater, it's kind of a conundrum because I primarily work with space as a physical actor, like three-dimensional space, and so how do you create that on this flat screen is a challenge. is really tough. But I also feel like there is something about this format that can connect us in a different way, and we can have a I don't even want to call it a theatrical encounter, but a story, a story based encounter or a story sharing encounter through this format, which people are exploring, and I'm pretty excited about that. I think we are in the infancy stage of that, but there could be something really wonderful that comes out of it, and then both can coexist. That's my hope. That's my dream, but we'll see.
Yeah, I love what all three of you are saying, just also in terms of the form. I mean, we're also come from a world of storytellers, rooted in storytelling, basic storytelling. The idea, the premise of theater is so stripped down anyway, I think appropriately so. Return to the source in another way, that way too. I just kind of roll my eyes when I hear all this. I get it in terms of economy and these places that have built up structures that make it, but they built these structures that make their upkeep more expensive than those of us that are broke and don't have nothing anyway. So maybe they're experiencing the problem, but I think in some ways, the more of the bullshit that we're stripping away, in addition to also being confronted with some challenges, we can seize, eyes on the prize. We can still seize the gold, touch the fire still. And it's so clear when you watch a clip, like the 3 clips that we saw, that the fire is still alive. The fire will be reignited very, very easily. I'm hoping too something similar that you were saying, Jason, about survival too, and how the 3 of you feel about that. What's great about having this conversation, at ConFest, and what's inside of those words, Consortium of Asian American Theater and Artists, on HowlRound here. So it's all theater people, but it's very clearly, it's cultural based. So I wonder, how can we coalition build? You know what I mean? How can we parlay collaborations at this point? How can we do something, and I'm using Jason specifically because we're both Bay Heads, but where we are dancing with the civic life and the cultural life together, so that you're doing a reading, but you're doing it alongside, a strike or, something like that. How are you all feeling in terms of the larger vision of community and cultural building, and with affirmation from something like CAATA asking you to be part of Return to the Source? Does that spark inspiration as well as affirmation?
Yeah, I think one of the things, as far as like being able to foster community, and it's something that's, been a little tough for, the organization I work for, is that like one of the things that like, you really do miss is like something as simple as the opportunity to eat together, and how like food really does kind of like being able just to, even if it's just snacking around the table, how that builds like, community and stuff. And I think that how do we until we're able to do it again, because even if we're able to have live events again, something like food is going to be hard to reintegrate into like that for a while. And so, trying to figure out how do we make those connections, again, how do we, try to build those just kind of like simple moments of connection over, over the internet. And there are like so many interesting platforms now where we can just sit and talk. And I think like, it's not too far away, the connections can still be made, and I still like feel a lot of like the good feelings I feel when I go to regular events. But I mean, it's hard to be able to discount the fact that that part is missing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Susan, Pratik, you two have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's been cool about this is the mouthpiece has gotten really a lot bigger. So for me, I've been doing different virtual events, and then I can ask my peeps in LA and Boston and Seattle to do shout outs because it's still relevant to their audience because they can interact with it at any time, right? So it's kind of cool to be like, oh, I don't have to reach out to people just when I'm in their town. I can reach out to them all the time. And if they need me to shout something out, I'm happy to do that too. So I feel like the form of collaboration back and forth is more fluid, and we're more open to supporting each other because it's going to help, rise all tides. It's going to help us all build our audience and find the right people that we need to find. I've been doing different events with, like, say, Oakland Asian Cultural Center, and we'll be getting notes from people around the country saying, like, in my local town where I grew up in Houston or in the Midwest, we just don't have these cultural centers. Thank you so much for putting on this programming. And it's just so great because they don't have to fly there, and they can be fed in the ways that they want to be fed. So I've been really grateful for that. And so it feels like collaboration is just a lot more fluid than before.
Yeah. This thing of returning to the source, and what I feel like for what's happened for me personally is the isolation of not being able to be in community, be in a shared space, has made me more awakened to the need of that I have of communal sharing and being in community. And theater kind of does that. It brings you together, and so does food, like you said. So I'm kind of, I've been questioning in these times. I've been questioning the idea of like being driven towards artistic excellence, and I'm kind of moving away from that actually, and moving more towards being in community and sharing stories in community. And so I don't know how that's going to affect my work as I go forward, but I feel like somewhere I lost the source, which is or lost the fundamental reason why we share stories, and a thing like CAATA where we share stories that are specific to our culture and our who we are is so important. Is because in this community I find like I find like there are more, I feel at home in this community, and so I want to build more spaces like that for myself and for others around me through my work. I don't know how that's going to happen quite yet, but that's what I would love to do.
That's beautiful. And Pratik, looking from the international scope of it, are you envisioning that coming back to Blue Lake, coming back to the States and doing it like that?
Yeah, I at the moment don't know where my home base would be in the United States. So that's a bit of a question, and I'm trying to refigure that out. So it's in transition. It's in the middle right now.
Yeah, really great. I think one of the important things for all of us to hold on to too is as impatient, as needy as we are to get back to life, quote unquote, as it was, I mean, whatever that means, and more importantly, get back to family, I think we also want to remember the things that were revealed during this time, and how we are still the outsiders, how we are still the underrepresented, how we are still dying more than anybody else. And so I say that not just to get on my usual soapbox, but also to say, let's not all, rush to the ocean as soon as they sound the gun. You know what I'm saying? Susan,
right. Like the default world wasn't the best world.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a deep friend, Ellen Sebastian Chang, and she was just reminding me yesterday too. She said, return to what? Because the shit was broken before too. So we're just aware of just how many parts it's broken into at this point, and what's revealed in all those breakages. And I'm not a doomsayer. I feel like I'm a realist, and I think we can use those revelations to move more positively and more lovingly forward, even though I sound like I'm pissed, which I am, because it's a shame to watch people die. And so I say all that to say we have these bigger thoughts about what to do and how to respond and the unknown of it. Do you three have more specific thoughts going forward? Like, I've been sitting in the cuts, for dang near a year now, and I know exactly the piece that I want to drop, when summer hits or whatever. You had mentioned maybe memoir, podcast, or, I wondered, Susan, you had said that. Any of you have thoughts, now's the time when I refine the piece, or looking back at that piece that I just shared, I have a new way of presenting it. Have you gotten more concretized in any kind of thinking about what you want to present once the veil gets ripped away?
One thing that I'm really excited about actually is it's not post this period, it's during this period, however long this lasts, is to see how kind of transmedia storytelling exists within this platform, and how we can kind of change the relationship with the audience. And some people are already kind of doing this with the Zoom format, where the audience is an active participant in the show. So it's almost like a mix of gaming and theater. So where you are players in the performance, and that I'm very excited about exploring. So that's where my head is at the moment.
That's so cool. I mean, these are these profound leaps that happen too, because everyone that saw Pratik, he's using shadow, he's using the basic, the old shit that we use, and then on your with your right hand, you're saying, now I'm gonna get into the gaming, the whole coding, all that other shit. I love it, the breadth of us, and that we sometimes also limit ourselves in sort of feeding on the thing that feeds us. I love to hear that scope of vision. Susan or Jay, do you have other thoughts of where you might be doing specifically?
Yeah, I think I'm feeling, starting to feel a bit more ready to writing poems again. But I think, like, I do have some cool things coming up through work and through, just, I reading a lot of cool stuff, and being inspired by a lot of great stuff. And one of the project working on at my job actually is we're trying to do this. We're doing a collaboration with Belay Creative around trying to do a virtual storytelling project. So I'm kind of like, it's cool because I get to like interview folks. And we're going to take some stories from these interviews, and there's this there's an artist here I actually grew up with in Fremont, who's like probably, who's like a pretty prominent Filipino artist named Christian Gaboy, who's going to be working on a lot of the virtual reality stuff, and it's pretty exciting where this is going to go, turning these into stories and having it, if you go walk around the city, you can like bring up these like stories and look at them in kind of virtual reality format. That's pretty exciting to me. So
that's dope. Again, too, like, as Joan was saying there, go in, poet, like we get back to our source, like the most basic pen to paper, probably literally for you, Jason, too, to writing poems, but that it has this breadth to it now. I just love the way that, also storytellers, like, we ain't limited by shit. You know what I mean? So like you get challenged by this moment in time, and rather than sort of break down, we not only go back to the source, but we expand the vision. I just love it. Susan, do you have a specific thing?
Yeah. Like 2019 was a wild ride for me. I had the world premiere of 140 Pounds, took it on a national tour, came back, was 9 months pregnant, wrote the sequel, performed that, and then COVID happened and I had a baby, right? Like it seems like it was exciting and it was a blur at the same time. And what's awesome about the stage is it's like you can get such a visceral reaction, and I can get that feedback from the audience like right away, and I love that. And now I want to go deep into each of those scenes that I had to compress during the show and take it to the page. So now I'm working on a memoir, and I want the readers to get to know my family even more and really see the childhood and see this journey of me trying to figure out who my mom was and who I am, especially as now a new mother. So I think the story is like live in creation because like art is 10 months now. And then I'm like catching myself being like, ooh, intergenerational trauma, Susan, like you're shaming because of that. And I'm like, I'm shaming. So I'm like trying to like really be aware. I'm journaling a lot. And eventually this is going to be in print form.
Yes, I love it. Now, the three of you are mentioning stuff coming up and revisiting. Let's go plug central, straight to it. Where can people check out more of your works, and especially in this online lifestyle? Hit all those hashtags and websites, ticket sources. Tell us, start with you, Susan. I know you got a couple of exciting things coming up. Can you tell folks?
Yeah, February is awesome. Next weekend, I have a double header weekend of 140 pounds and over 140 pounds that is pre-recorded. So I'll be doing some virtual, like Ask Me Anythings after the show. And then also late February, I'm doing a really cool workshop with Artist Trust. And it's open to anyone in the world. And it's about community partnerships. And when you look at the themes of your work, who should you be collaborating and playing with, and who can you find the right partners, especially now, like develop those relationships, and let's go through that exercise and do it. So that's free and all available on my website, susanlieu.me.
Yes, break it down, spell it out for the people. We got some non-VS out there.
Okay, it's Susan, Lieu, like in lieu of something. Like, I don't want that, I want this. Yeah.
I don't want that, I want Susan. Okay. 140, beautiful. Pratik, do you have any work that you can share online with folks or upcoming joints?
Yes, so all my stuff is housed on embeddedtheshow.com. That's EMBEDDED, theshow.com. So that's the web portal on which I keep updating what's going on. So everything that's going on is on there. So you can just check that out.
Does that include new stuff and archived works?
Yes. So under the artist section, I just put everything on there.
Wow. All right. Everyone can check it all out. Embedded. Okay. Excellent. Jason, go in, poet. Let us know what's coming up.
Please check out Kearny Street Workshop, kearnystreet.org, see what we got going on over there. And, I don't have a lot like personal stuff coming up, but my book is out there. You check it out right here, Locust. I'm
Beautiful.
from Omnidon Publishing. I can't. I'm thrown off by like the screen, but yeah, you can buy that anywhere that you buy books. So, and then
Oh,
that's
great.
book, and then my first book, Amulet, as well. I have 2 books out that you can purchase. So
That's great. And if people do a search, they can find Jason Bayani, and they can find both of your books. Actual books, people. You know, a thing that you can hold in your hand and read it. Put your finger on the paper type thing that Jason has. That's great. Beautiful. Two books. And, you know, bless you, Jason, for representing community and your group, Kearny Street Workshop, training out thousands upon thousands of writers every year. So really cool. That's exciting. I love this. And hopefully on the HowlRound that we can see the names of the websites and all that. I don't know. I just tell people, holler at me real quick. I don't know how to find any of this stuff. Are there any last, parting shots, thoughts, prayers, anything from you all?
I just want to say, during the pandemic, it's just things have just been stripped away, right? Your friends and your family and your habits and your favorite things. And it's like going back to return to the source. The question is like, well, then who are you? And when we go back to the post-COVID world, how are you going to uphold that and honor that? Because I think focus for me personally is so hard. Like I get so distracted and so excited after every shiny thing. And I think the question is like you said earlier, Sean, is like, what are we learning? And then how are we going to just deepen that and manifest that so that we are doing these things that of the person that we really hope we are. Right. So I'm saying that out loud as a reminder of myself.
Yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. I want to remember that and hear that back. Jason, Pratik?
Last thoughts?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I think to just, go back to what you were saying before, like, we shouldn't ever have wanted to go back to normal. I think this is an opportunity, to come out of this something different, or to like point ourselves towards, a different us. A different conception of the world, what we can be.
Let's go there. I like that. Pratik?
I'm just echoing what Susan and Jason said. I mean, they articulated it so well. Yeah.
Beautiful. And if people have lingering questions or follow-ups, you can always reach out to CAATA, info at CAATA.net, N-E-T. And the great thing about doing this with CAATA and HowlRound, I mean, fuck it, TV, HowlRound got the good stuff for you every day of the week that you can click on and watch and feed your brain and your creativity. They have more content than I can keep up with. And this will be part of that online there at HowlRound. So this has been just wonderful. Thank you, FIFO. Thank you, Susan, Jason, and Pratik. And thank you, Joan Osato, for inviting me, cuss words and all. And I want to thank Maximiliano for running the show here. And thank you, Ariel. And thank you, everyone that made this possible. And those of you who hung on in there with us out there in the virtual world. And check out these people's work. And next year, get ready for Hawaii, people, because Return to the Source is going back to the source, okay? And I think we take it away now and send it back for some final thank yous from CAATA. Peace.
Wow. I wanted to thank you all for joining us for this afternoon, this evening, this morning, wherever you are in the world. Special thanks to Sean for such a wonderful interview and introduction. Susan, Jason, Pratik, you're amazing. It was really moving. I wanted to also not forget to thank our many funders for this program, which includes the New England Foundation for the Arts, thank you, the Ford Foundation, the Doris Duke Charitable Foundation, and the National Endowment for the Arts. So if you want to learn more, there are some slides and some QR codes where you can donate if you feel so disposed to. We hope you want to become a member and support us as we go towards the organizing for ConFest May 2022. A special today is that if you really wanted to learn the recipe for Pratik's mom's chai recipe, please donate today or when you see this program, and just write chai in the memo. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time.
It's real simple. It's not really nothing. All you have to do is move something.